Okay, going to show how to get some files off an SD card, such as pictures or videos, and that way you can store it onto CD or thumb drive, pen drive, or any other possible storage media, such as a portable USB hard drive. It's mainly going to be your choice how you want to store them. For best safety, I have found that using the CD or DVD, and a DVD does not have to be for videos only. A DVD can also be for data storage, which holds about 4 gigabit. This is, as an example, say at least maybe close to 6 or 7 times as much as what a CD holds, I believe. I can't remember the exact figures right off, but it does hold a lot more than a CD. However, when you're using a CD or a DVD for data storage, you have the less likely to delete your files. The only thing you have to make sure of here that you can store your CDs in a safe and appropriate location. With a thumb drive or any other removable media option, USB hard drive, etc., then you still have the ability to accidentally delete the files. But if you're just wanting to free up some room, get your files off the SD card, that's what we're going to show today. So I'm going to assume that you already know how to put your SD card in the appropriate device slot on your system. And when you do that, that should automatically open a window on the root folder of that SD card. So I'm placing my SD card in to the root folder. Here is where we should go, and another window opened up, as you see. It says removable disk D, and I've got 3 folders on here. You may have this many, you may have less, you may have more. I've noticed most video cameras nowadays go into this private folder. So if I go into the private and just kind of navigate down and keep looking, I'll eventually come to a folder that says possibly stream. And then I go into that. I have an MTS file. MTS, that's your video files. So that's where your actions are. If I go back to the root drive of D, navigate into this DCIM folder and just kind of follow it, then that's where my JPEGs, in this case JPEGs, are. JPEGs for the camera I'm using, and that's just my still images, my picture files. My current view setting is for details, so that gives me the file name and any other settings I may have that I wanted to see, such as date, modified, type, etc. here. To change that view setting, in your ribbon menus at the top, I'm currently on my Home tab, but if I look and find and left click on View tab, I can change from the details to either large icons or extra large icons, but we're going with just details. So we're looking at the contents of this SD card. So how to move or copy these contents off the SD card. I would suggest copying the contents first, then going back to delete, making sure you have everything backed up successfully. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Home tab. I'm going to select all, and maybe while I'm selecting all, maybe I wanted to see how much is going on here. How much room and space am I going to need? So after I selected all, I did a check on properties, and it says I have 887 megabits and that's 216 files. That tells me 887, that's too large for a CD. CDs only hold about 700 megabits, so that's too large. for today's exercise, I'll just copy a few files to CD later on. But anyway, we've got all files selected. Again, that was the select all. If I go back to select none, it's as if I did not select anything, but I will go to a select all. If I cut, that's removing the files from the SD card. But as I mentioned earlier, I want to be safe and I want to copy first. So I'm going to left click on copy. Then I'm going to navigate to this PC, to my pictures folder. You will have to find your own folder for storing. It's up to you. We'll click on new folder and we'll just say SD card pics. Now if I just hit enter once, it accepts the new name. If I would have hit enter twice, it would have automatically put me into that folder. So since I didn't double click, I will now need to take the mouse and double click into that folder, and that shows me I'm on this PC, my picture folder, and SD card pics. Now I'm in this folder on my home ribbon, home tab in my ribbon menu. I can select paste, and now it's pasting, making a copy of all my picture files off of the SD card into this folder onto the computer. You do not have to do this to put it on your thumb drives, USB drives, or burn it to disk. It's just I like to make a backup copy first. And if I go back to my removable disk D, navigate to where those picture folder was, there's all my pictures. And so they're still safe and sound. Once I have them backed up to disk, then I could probably go back and delete them as necessary. Let's go to that pictures folder. We called that SD card pics. So now that I have these, I have a disk in already for CD. So I'm just going to select a few. It's up to you to select all as deemed necessary, but I'm just going to select a few. I'm going to go up to the Share tab. I'm going to say Burn to Disk. It's asking if I want to give it a date and how I want to make the disk, if it's going to act like a USB drive or with a CD player. I'm going to use the bottom one with a CD DVD player. Just which one should I use? That's a link there, and that'll be a little bit more descriptive here and give you maybe even a better insight than what I can give you. So we'll say next. It's taking the files. I don't know how many I selected, evidently quite a few. It's prepared them to the disk. Now if you notice, they look kind of grayed out here. That's because they're waiting to be burned, and that's what it says here, files ready to be written to the disk. So now I'm just going to right click anywhere, and I should have an option to burn to disk. It's asking me again for a title. And if I want to close the wizard afterwards, etc., just hit next. And now my system is working and in process of burning the files to the disk. And you may be hearing it a little bit in the background, but we're going to pause while it's doing its thing here. Okay, it's finishing up. And they should now be burned to disk. And I'm good to go. I can now delete these off the SD card, delete them off my hard drive if I wanted to, or even copy them further as a secondary copy onto another USB drive or whatever I feel is good. Just make sure you label your disk appropriately and put it away appropriately. And I think that's all I'm going to do for getting stuff kind of off the SD card. Because now I could go back to this SD card, find that folder with the pictures, go to the Home tab, select all, and then I could hit the X for delete. So, but I'm not going to for what I'm doing, but do permanent delete or just show recycle confirmation. But delete is delete, so be careful there. Make sure stuff is backed up first before deleting. Good luck.